Hey, what's up, studs? Ryan here, MandRproductions, and welcome to my review of an original LEGO Star Wars The Clone Wars set 7674, V-19 Torrent from 2008, has 471 pieces, and when it was released in 2008, this thing would set you back $55, which doesn't seem so bad today. By inflation, that's about $65 in 2020 money, but more importantly, if you want to buy this set on eBay or Bricklink or something brand new in the box like you would in the store back in the day, it'll cost you about 4 times as much as the original retail price, a little bit less than that actually. Just shy of $200 is the value on this thing now. It was really heavily rumored to be getting a remake about 2 summers ago in the summer of 2018, but that just never turned out to be true, so this is the lone version of the V-19 Torrent, and with the Clone Wars returning in 2020 for its final season, this thing has kind of shot up in value, so it's definitely a tough one to pick up if you want to just buy it outright brand new. Anyway, the box art is actually really nice, shows the V-19 Torrent zooming by with some explosions, planet in the background, and then it also shows that you can put it in a landing position, although I find that picture to be a little bit misleading. I'll talk to you about why in a little bit, as well as the flight mode, which is obviously shown on the box, so it's kind of nice you can transform it. It includes one minifigure, the clone pilot. I'll mention this later, but could have included more if this set was made in today's world. The back of the box shows off some other sets available at the time, of course, as well as some other features on the V-19 Torrent, which we'll be taking a look at in the review. I find it odd that a set with 471 pieces has 2 instruction manuals, but this set does have 2 instruction manuals, and I just wanted to show you the back of this second one here because it's got some pretty cool stuff going on. Obviously the same pictures we've kind of seen, but we have some cool stuff to reminisce about here with the ATTE and the gunship. You can find a review of that gunship on my channel, actually. And then, of course, other sets from earlier in 2008, this beautiful kind of poster art that they've got going on back here. Just great to see this stuff. Obviously, some other really cool sets from the era. And then finally, the LEGO Club page and stuff. Always kind of cool to look back at some of this old art that they used to put on some of the manuals. The lone minifigure in this set is this bad boy right here, the Clone Pilot. Very similar looking to the regular Clone Wars Clone Trooper from the era. They just have some added Clone Pilot markings, especially the yellow with the Republic logo on the top there. And then, of course, on the chest, they've added like a ventilator or some type of tubing there. Otherwise, it's very similar to what you see as the regular Clone Trooper, but still very cool to have him in this set. Obviously going to be the only figure. I think in today's world, if LEGO were to release this set today, the set would have like 2 other minifigures. I think a prime example of something like this is the Sith TIE Fighter from 2020. Like, they have obviously the TIE Pilot for it, but they have a couple other figures, and I feel like, again, in today's world, you would get a couple of exclusive figures to entice something like this set, but unfortunately, back in the day, you only got the singular Clone Pilot, which is, in one word, adequate. We'll open up the helmet there. You'll see the regular good old Clone Trooper face under there. But yeah, pretty standard figure for the time. We saw him in quite a few sets, so he wasn't rare exclusive or anything, but he fits in the set and, like I said, adequate. And there is the V-19 Torrent. The set actually does include a couple of extra flick-fire missiles in case you lose the 2 that are already on there. Just so you know, I guess that could be important for you. Anyway, the set actually looks really nice. For 2008, obviously, LEGO was already producing pretty nice sets at the time, more modernized than they had been about 4 years, 5 years prior. Obviously, it's close to what we would see modern day if they were to remake this, in my opinion. Although there are a few things, including these pieces, that I think would not exist in a modern version. But let's take a look. Exterior first. There is a nice sticker on the front of the set here, which does add a bit of detail. These 2008 sets especially, like I had a gunship that did the same thing, those stickers will just crack, and it is really bad. Another thing also, these nice maroon red color pieces, they look beautiful. I actually broke one while I was building the set as well, so I had to replace that, just snapped it right in half, so that happened, but still, the coloring on this is nice. I kind of wish they had tiled off this white area, to be honest, so I think that could have potentially looked really nice and actually helped finish off the model, in my opinion, because to me it looks kind of unfinished in that midsection. The wings of the set look really nice. Both the left and the right are pretty much identical, just flipped. They have these very nice blasters on top. You're going to take down those enemy droid ships, as well as some nice detailing going down. We have a little sticker with the Republic logo there as well, kind of match your pilot's helmet, and then more maroon red. I like the white and red color scheme on this guy. It looks very beautiful. The outside of the wing is going to look quite different, though. It's not quite as nice as the inside. Now, I will say when you obviously have the ship in flight mode, it looks a lot better than when it does when it's landed, in my opinion. But down here we have those flick fire missiles, which you luckily don't have to actually flick. They have a mechanism here for you to just push while you're flying. So if we go ahead and push that, you'll see they work fine enough, I guess, but you're going to have more fun if you just pretend that they're like a bomb dropping out of the sky instead of a missile that's supposed to actually fly and hit something. Reloading is easy as you would expect. It just snaps into place and you're ready to go with another one. I really like the mechanism that they built to kind of hold the wings on as well. That's just kind of an interesting building technique that you may notice as you're building. These engines are nice. You have like the intake area here, which is decent looking. And then I actually like the backside a lot better with the black and then the blue for the thrust coming out of the back. Looks really nice. Flipping farther around back here, you'll see some similar attributes that we saw on the front there with the red and the white. And then you'll actually see a little touch of sand green down up underneath here. I would assume it's accurate because if it wasn't, they would have just used white like the front. So very interesting color choice though. Some sand green that's very visible on this set. And also 2008 sand green was a lot harder to come by. So that was kind of interesting to see, I'm sure. Some nice angles here leading into the cockpit area, which is beautifully tiled off on like this midsection area. The cockpit has a wonderful mechanism for entering it. You can actually pull forward right here, just like that. It's got a beautiful mechanism that slides really cleanly forward. And then you can actually push down on this, and that gives you like the maximum space to access the cockpit. You actually have a very nice printed tile for your cockpit control panel as well. And there's just going to be enough space for your pilot to fit in there. There's not really a spot for his weapon though, unfortunately, on the set. As far as I can tell, like there's no clip or anything to attach it to. So you're just going to have to like leave it off to the side while he pilots the V-19 Torrent. He's going to fit right in his blue seat, get his arms down, and just like that, you're able to close this back up pretty simply, and he's in there very nicely. I also really like what they have here with these slanted plates. Those actually worked out very nicely for the shaping of the set. The third wing or whatever is kind of on the back here. This is kind of the handle of which you're going to hold the set with when you actually fly it around, which I'll show you later. But you actually have, it's kind of inverted because obviously when it drops down out the back, this will be facing backwards. So you have your third source of thrust there, and then the intake is on the back side when it's landed. The problem you may have with this ship, if you actually want to like just pick it up like this and not have the wings fold down, they're going to fold down like that, right? So what they've actually done, and it's kind of ingenious, it's not very advertised. Obviously, when it's landed, the landing gear prevents, and like the way the system works, which I'm going to get into, prevents anything from actually like dropping down and staying down. Like you can pull down on it, but it's going to eventually go right back up real quick. You can actually spin this out like this, and now, as you saw when I picked it up, everything tried to fold down. If you pick it up, nothing's going to fold down because this is stopping anything from kind of falling into place, which is great. So it's not really an advertised feature of the set, like on the box or in the instructions or anything, but it's definitely something that does work and is something that I think some people might find some use for, although it's not super important. Like you could just pick the ship up like this, right, with two hands and hold it in place. But yeah, it's definitely a nice little feature, kind of a hidden feature in the set, if you will, something again that's not advertised. One of my least favorite things about the Lego V-19 Torrent is the way that it sits when it's landed. Box, it certainly looks like it's landed flat. However, I checked many pictures of this set in a landed position that had been posted online, and they all have this same forward lean to it. And it's actually pretty substantial and pretty noticeable. It's not so bad when you look at it from the front, right? But when you're looking at it from the side or some type of off angle, it is gonna look a little bit rough in my opinion. I don't love the way it looks like that because it just looks like it's leaning forward for no reason when it should be more like that in my opinion. I'm not really sure why it's like this. I guess it was just maybe a part of what they had to give up for the design that they had, but definitely is something that I noticed right away and was trying to fix or see if I messed something up in the instructions, but alas, I don't believe I did mess anything up. I just think that that is the way the design is, and you know, it's just something you gotta live with if you really care about this V-19 Torrent. So it could be something that you could potentially fix, but it's not, you know, the end of the world, obviously. It just is a little annoyance. So if you want to pick up the V-19 Torrent and actually fly it around, you have a couple of options. You could just pick it up like this and, you know, your hands kind of get in the way, but eventually everything kind of does fold into place. But the better option really is to have it in its landed position like this, and you're just going to kind of pick it up from the back like so, drop this down, And just like that, you are into a flying position, kind of all with one hand, which is really interesting about this set. It's something that is really neat, and I really love the way it looks when it's flying. It would be really cool. I think the 2006 B-Wing set actually had this. It had a stand so that you could actually put the B-Wing in its flight mode as kind of like a display style thing, and that would have been something really cool with this set, but unfortunately just isn't in here. Just, again, something that would have been neat, or maybe something you could build. But yeah, you can't really display the set like this because it'll fall to one side or the other. But it is really neat to have this kind of for playing around, or maybe if you built it into a mock with some sort of clear stilt stand. Maybe I could do that. I think that might not be too hard. When in flight mode, the cockpit is actually pretty exposed there. And obviously that shouldn't be like that. He should be completely sealed in the vacuum of space, but he is not. It does look pretty great though from the rear as well. I love it when it's all opened up like this in its actual flight formation. It looks so beautiful like this. Obviously you get to see the full wingspan and everything. It's just beautiful like this. It really is. This is the way it's meant to be used, in my opinion, as much as possible. Now, there is a really interesting aspect of this design that I've kind of been glossing over, and that is these giant piston-like tubes on the top of the V-19 Torrent. I opened this setup when I was building it. I had no idea what they were for. I was like, what could these possibly be used for? These are the jankiest piece I have ever seen in a LEGO Star Wars set. And they are. They are very weird, but they serve a very important purpose, and that is to allow this V-19 Torrent to basically have a controlled system within which to open and close its wings, essentially. I think without those tubes, there wouldn't be enough power, basically, to lift the wings, right, like this, and put them into a landing position. So these tubes are basically like a vacuum-type seal or whatever in there with the rubberized piece that kind of moves along throughout there. And I can't really explain how exactly it works. I think the best way to describe it is that it kind of slows down the descent of the wing. So when it's up in the top position like this, without those tubes, the system would just be like a typical Technic system, right? And so as soon as I pull back this middle wing, these side wings would just fly down. This does two things. It A, stops the wing at a certain point so that they're at even angles on both sides. B, it also slows the descent. So when I let go of this back wing, everything doesn't just fly down. It kind of goes down slowly, which I think is very important to watch. It's an odd grip, but I think it'll help serve my point here. So here we go. I'm going to let go of the middle wing. And everything just kind of slowly drops into place, which is really cool to watch. And obviously it makes it a little bit more realistic too, because, you know, in the show or whatever, as you lift up for takeoff, everything kind of slowly drops into place. It's not like this instant fast thing that could also break your stuff as it goes down. So it is really, really neat to watch that in action. And let me show you the tubes obviously pushing back like so as you bring it back up. And again, as we drop it down, the tubes slow that descent very nicely to create a very cool effect for getting ready to go into flight and off into space or whatever. The final thing that happens with that is the landing gear kind of retracts. So you can see as you're in flight mode, the landing gear is back and out of the way. And as you go into landing position there, everything kind of moves forward and out and ready to be dropped down onto the table in your landing position. So that is really neat that you kind of have that landing gear feature as well. And that is the 2008 V-19 Torrent. I'm pretty hopeful for a remake of this set at some point in the future. It was, again, heavily rumored in 2018, but just never came to fruition, unfortunately. It's a beautiful set as is. It's got some really cool and neat aspects of it, especially for 2008, like those tubes that help slow the drop of the wings, and obviously the landing gear can retract up and into the ship. The flick-fire missiles are actually pretty nicely integrated, and the pilot is a decent minifigure, although I guess in today's world they would have included like 2 or 3 more to make the set like $90. But overall, like 8.5 out of 10, really good set. There are some obvious aspects of it that just don't hold up to today that I don't like. Let me know what you guys think about this thing down in the comments section below, and huge thanks to Mike who actually sent me this set as a gift. Really cool set. Just again, from a review aspect, there are some things on it from a LEGO design aspect that could be better. So let me know your thoughts. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Check out my other LEGO videos on the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out. We gone, baby. Yeah, look at that.